Srila Bhagavan ki jai, Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. First meeting with Srila Prabhupada. I was a student at Brandeis University near Boston, and I had an apartment off campus, and I had invited some friends for dinner. I was already vegetarian, and we were planning to go to see a movie at Harvard Square after dinner. In those days, they had what they called art houses, where they would show art films. And I had seen a poster on campus that said, lecture Bhagavad Gita as it is, Swami Bhaktivedanta. And something in my heart kept telling me that I have to go to that lecture. And my friend, especially one lady friend, was very upset. And she said, why can't you be like normal people? Why do you always have to be chasing after these swamis and gurus? And, she raised her voice and I raised my voice and I said, all right, this will be the last one I ever go to. So I was a psychology major, and it so happened that the program was in the auditorium of the psychology department. And because of all the discussion, we reached late. But the devotees were performing kirtan on the stage. And one by one, students from the audience were climbing up onto the stage and joining the chanting and dancing. And after the program, one of the devotees, Srila, said that if anyone is driving to Boston or Cambridge, they should meet the devotees in the lobby because the devotees need a lift. So I met the devotees in the lobby, and they all piled into my red railway station wagon, which my father had given me as a high school graduation present. And so in the front seat with me, I was driving, was a lady devotee named Janava. And Janava had so many questions, so I started to ask her. So to begin, I asked her about Yogananda, because I read his book, Autobiography of the Yogi. And she said, oh, he's just a shopkeeper. Whatever you want, he keeps in stock. And she said, if you ever go to his ashram in Southern California, he has a monument to Mahatma Gandhi as a world peace worker. And she said Mahatma Gandhi wasn't a world peace worker. He wanted to get the British out of India. He doesn't even know who Mahatma Gandhi is. But then I asked her about Zen, and her answer was better than any explanation I had ever heard within the Zen tradition, and it went much further. So she said, what we see are like images on a movie screen. They appear to be real, but they're not actually real. But if you draw your attention from the screen, you'll see there's a beam of light, and that light comes to a point. So I thought, oh, that's the void. And then she said, but behind the point, there's a light bulb and a projector, and behind the projector is a person. So I thought, this is really good. So I thought, she's speaking with such authority, but she's just a young girl, maybe 20 years of age. She can't be speaking on her own authority. She must be speaking on her guru's authority. So we reached Harvard Square, and I let the devotees out. And then I realized I didn't know how to get in touch with them. So I jumped out of the car and ran after the devotees. And the first one I reached was Petit Pavan, Prabhu. And he said, see all these people, they're just like sleepwalkers. They don't know who they are or where they're going. Everything that all the devotees said was so deep. Then I started to hear the honking of horns because all the traffic was backed up at Harvard Square because I left the car. So I said, quick, give me the address. So the next night I went to the temple, and Srila Prabhupada was speaking, but because of his thick Bengali accent, and because I was not familiar with the philosophy, I didn't understand all that much. But at one point he said, out of many thousands of men, one will seek perfection. And I thought, that's me. Talking about me. Then after the lecture, he asked for questions. And I asked the question that was burning in my heart. And I said, there's so many swamis and gurus, and each recommends a different method of self-realization, and each says that his is the best. So how do I know what is actually the best? And Srila Prabhupada replied, what is your goal? And it was a brilliant answer. because I was asking what is the best means. But then a more fundamental question is what is the end for which you are seeking the best means? So he said, do you want to serve God or do you want to become God? If you want to become God, you're not God now. And how can not God become God? Krishna is always God. When he's playing on the lap of Mother Yashoda, when he's speaking the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, he's always God. He doesn't have to become God by yoga or meditation. So if you sow the seed of service to God and water it by chanting, God will provide the sunlight and all the favorable conditions to make it grow. But if you want to become God, you're only cheating yourself. Because why should God help the competition? So at that point, I got the distinct impression that Srila Prabhupada was singing through me, through the walls of the temple, over the roads, into my apartment, into my bathroom, where I had written in my own hand in very colorful, ornate lettering, the sign, "You are God." to remind me, because I forgot. So then back in the temple, Srila Prabhupada said, so what do you think? You want to serve God or you want to become God? So by then I understood I couldn't become God. So I said, I want to serve God, but actually I wanted to become God. And Srila Prabhupada said yes. So then I knew I found my perfect answer, and I bowed my head in obeisance, and I kept it down for a long time, mainly in surrender, but I was also afraid to look up because I thought people would be glaring at me, oh, he wanted to become God, he wanted to become God. So I kept it down. But after some time, I heard sounds that indicated that food was being served. So I thought it's probably safe to come up now. So I did, and nobody was glaring at me. Everyone was smiling and happy. And I got this plate of prasad. And the first item I tried was a cauliflower pakora. And there's like such an explosion of taste in my mouth, like nothing I'd ever experienced. And one after the other, every item was out of this world. So at the end, I thought everything about Krishna consciousness is perfect. The guru is perfect, the philosophy is perfect, the process, the chanting is perfect, the food is perfect, everything about Krishna consciousness is perfect. But after some days, the devotees told me that Srila Prabhupada was leaving and asked if I wanted to go to the airport. And I didn't realize that Srila Prabhupada would ever leave. I didn't know that there were so many centers and that Srila Prabhupada would be traveling. I said, yes, I would like to. So we went to the airport, and at the airport, many of the devotees were crying. And I asked Arundhati why they would cry. And she said, Srila Prabhupada had told them that on the absolute platform, meeting and separation are the same. Both are occasions of ecstasy. So in theory, it sounded good, but I wasn't sure how practical it was. So we waited till Srila Prabhupada boarded the aircraft and it took off. And we watched it until it disappeared in the sky. Because Srila Prabhupada had told the devotees that they should watch the airplane till it disappeared in the sky, just like the gopis watched the chariot that was taking Krishna to Vrindavan until it disappeared in the distance. And all they could see was the dust. So some days later, we were doing Harinam Sankirtan outside the Kapli Square subway station. And I suddenly felt Srila Prabhupada's presence very distinctly and palpably. And then I thought of Arundhati's statement that on the absolute platform, meeting and separation are the same. I thought, yes, it's true. And from then on, my whole mission in life was to introduce people to Srila Prabhupada. And I did so as long as he was physically present. But then after he left, I thought, what will be my service now? But then I realized I could still introduce Srila Prabhupada to people because they could get his association and mercy through his books, through his devotees, through his mission. And, that's what I feel most comfortable doing and satisfied doing, introducing people to Srila Prabhupada. Then after a year and a half in Boston, Srila Prabhupada announced that he was returning to India because he wanted to establish Krishna consciousness there. And he asked that the number 2 man in each center be sent to India. So I was the number 2 man in Boston. Saraswati was the temple president. He was the number 1. And pretty much all the devotees wanted to go to India, be with Srila Prabhupada there. And so the head pujari in Boston was Rukmini Devdasi. And as I was leaving, she said that she felt that Lord Jagannath was sending me to India. And I had the exact same impression that Lord Jagannath was sending me to India. And then when she said that, I felt it was confirmed. When I joined, I had some money and some stocks, some shares. And I asked Srila Prabhupada what I should do with them. And he said I should keep them because I might need to use them later. So when we were leaving for India, I cashed in my shares and I used that money to pay for my own ticket, but with the tickets of several other devotees who were going to India. And when I reached India, I guess there was a little culture shock, but I actually felt very at home in India. And then we traveled with Srila Prabhupada for about a year and a half. And those travels are described in the book Dancing White Elephants. And then after a year and a half, we got to Juhu land. And Srila Prabhupada made me the temple president. Earlier, in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada was in his grass hut near the entrance to the property. And he said to me, during the British rule, they had 3 states, Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. So which do you want? And I said, Srila Prabhupada, I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'll do whatever you want me to do. He said, no, I want you to decide. And I realized that Srila Prabhupada was forcing me to come to a higher level of surrender, because he had said that a third-class disciple will receive an instruction from the spiritual master and then forget what the spiritual master ordered, or he'll begrudge doing it. The second-class disciple will receive an instruction from the spiritual master and execute it perfectly. The first-class disciple will know what the spiritual master wants, even without the spiritual master telling him. So now I was in a position to figure out what Srila Prabhupada would want me to do, even without his telling me. So from Mayapur, we went to Calcutta. And in Calcutta, I would chant in front of the deities and pray for some direction. But I wasn't getting any answer. So one day, I decided to trick Srila Prabhupada into disclosing where he wanted me to go. So I went into his room and sat before him, and I said, Srila Prabhupada, I was thinking I should go back to Madras. And then I gave the reasons why I should go back to Madras. And he said, yes, you can go. Then I said, but then again, I was thinking I should stay here in Calcutta. And I gave the reasons. And in the exact same tone of voice and with the exact same facial expression, he said, yes, you can stay. So by then, I realized my plan wasn't working, but I was invested in it. So I played it out, and I said, but then again, I was thinking I should go to Bombay. And then I gave the reasons why I should go to Bombay. With the same tone of voice, the same facial expression, he said, yes, you can go. So then I was, and Srila Prabhupada left and went to Bombay. I remained in Calcutta, chanting and praying. And then I got an answer that the most important program in India was the life membership program. And Srila Prabhupada had said, if you just give me 3 life members a day, I'll do everything else. And when we kept our promises to the life members, they themselves would make more life members for us. But if we broke our promises, then even if we personally went to make someone a life member, he might not join because he would have heard that we don't keep our promises. So I concluded I should go to Bombay and take over the life membership office. So I wrote Srila Prabhupada, and he wrote that, yes, come to Bombay immediately. So I went to Bombay, and Srila Prabhupada was very enthusiastic about the Jubilee land. And he took me on a tour of the property, and he pointed out all the palm trees. And he said so many things. And then a few days later, he held a meeting to decide who would take charge of the project. And in the meeting, he turned to me and said, "So Giriraj, you will take charge." And I winced because that was not my idea to take charge of the project. I just thought I should take care of the like membership office. But I learned, especially from one conversation I had with Mr. Success in spiritual life is to follow the orders of the spiritual master and please him. So when Srila Prabhupada said, "So Giriraj, you will take charge," I said, "All right, if that's what you want, then yes, I will." And then Srila Prabhupada smiled and sort of laughed and said, "Now the whole responsibility is on you," which is not what I wanted to hear. And but anyway, that was the beginning. And then a little while later, Srila Prabhupada left. He had arranged for a pandal to be erected on the front of the property. So he was having a pandal program. And on the last day, he spoke about the 6 Goswamis, their feelings of separation. And I can understand that Srila Prabhupada was preparing us for his imminent departure. And then we went to the airport and we got like a VIP room for Srila Prabhupada, and we were doing kirtan. Mataji Prabhu was leading the kirtan, and I was ecstatic. Devotees were dancing, jumping up and down. And Srila Prabhupada commented, if you have kirtans like this, the project will be a success. And then Srila Prabhupada left, and I'm really praying to be able to execute his mission properly. And then, so from 1972 to 1977, when Srila Prabhupada left, I was there. as a temple president. But there were a lot of obstacles, and but finally, in 1974, we were able to get the land in our name, and in Prabhupada's name, and his God's name. And because we didn't have any proper place for Srila Prabhupada on the property, we had arranged for him to stay in like a holiday bungalow belonging to a big industrialist of Bombay, C.M. Katal. And so the registrar was very considerate. He came out to Juhu, so Prabhupada didn't have to go to Bombay. And Mrs. Nair signed over the land. And afterwards, Srila Prabhupada, leaned back on his bolster and he said it was a good fight. Someone should write a book about it. So, yeah. And then again, in 1977, towards the end, Srila Prabhupada again brought up the subject of the struggle in Juhu. He said that, someone should write a book about it. It's worth writing. It's history. So, Srila Prabhupada instructed me to write. Repeatedly, he gave me the same instruction. And then, especially about Juhu, he wanted a book to be written. So, I tried to follow that instruction. And so I put these books that you see here. And then there's one more about Boston, where I first met Srila Prabhupada and the devotees and was joined. And that book is about 90% complete. And my main editor is Kalachandji Das, who's Tamal Krishna Goswami's brother. And he'll be spending the summer with me at my ashram in Karpadaviya, so we'll finish it then by Prabhupada's grace. So thank you for listening so patiently and attentively. And now if any of you have any questions or comments, any reflections you would like to share, raise your hand.
Thank you so much for your class. I was wondering if you could share some memories with Bhakti Charaswami.
I have so many memories. The first time I met him was at the Kumbh Mela in Allahabad in the bathroom. And he was a new person to me. And, I introduced myself to him. He introduced himself to me. And then Srila Prabhupada very quickly made him his secretary for Hindi and Bengali correspondence. And then after the Kumbh Mela, when Srila Prabhupada returned to Juhu, and I also returned to Juhu, so Bhakti True Swami Maharaj was there. And then in Srila Prabhupada's last days, he was very much present in service to Srila Prabhupada. And there was a controversy because Srila Prabhupada said he wanted to go, it was close to Govardhan Puja time. Srila Prabhupada said he wanted to go to Govardhan by bullock cart. And many devotees, including His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj, thought that he would not be able to make the journey. But another group of devotees, led by Hansaduta Prabhu, and also Varajaj Prabhu, were saying it's not our duty to question the orders of the spiritual master. Our duty is just to obey. So there was some controversy. I wasn't quite sure where I stood on it, although personally I was more close to the devotees who were saying that that Prabhupada won't be able to sustain the journey and that he should not go. And so Tamal Krishna Goswami, Bhakti True Swami, and others, Bhakti Sri Damodar Swami, were in that group. So one evening, Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, came, and Bhakti True Swami arranged for him to take prasad in a separate area. And he spoke to him about Prabhupada's idea to go to Govardhan Hill by bullock cart. And Bhakti True Swami asked him to prevail upon Srila Prabhupada not to go. And Babaji Maharaj agreed. So they came into Prabhupada's room, and Babaji Maharaj said, you know, your disciples have told me this, and I request you not to go. And meanwhile, Tamal Krishna Goswami and Bhavananda had been upstairs, and they came down at about the same time. And, you know, Tamal Krishna Goswami said, you know, if anyone wants you to travel, it's me. But why does it have to be now? You know, when you're so sick, and you know, Bhavananda and I were in so much anxiety over the thought that you would go by bullock cart to Govardhan. And then Prabhupada said to Babaji Maharaj, you know, to see how much they love me. And then he said, my right hand and my left hand, how can I refuse? So yeah, it was settled that he wouldn't go, and yeah, then maybe 3 days later, he left this world. But one night, yeah, I think Yeah, I think what I just described was a little more than 3 days before Prabhupada left. And then 3 days before he left, I was taking rest on the rooftop of the Gurukul building. And in the middle of the night, a devotee woke me up and said, Srila Prabhupada wants to see you. So I went to Srila Prabhupada's room, and he was very sick. He was lying on his bed, and he was very weak. He couldn't speak very loudly. But I sat near the head of the bed and strained to hear. And he said, so what do you think? Will this movement go on after I leave? And I replied, yes. If the devotees are sincere and chant their rounds and follow the regulative principles, it will continue. And then Srila Prabhupada said, organization, intelligence and organization. And I thought about what Srila Prabhupada said. And yes, for our own Krishna consciousness, we have to be sincere and chant our 16 rounds and follow the regulated principles. But to spread Krishna consciousness, we need organization and intelligence. So that was an important instruction.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I also wanted to ask another question, if it's okay.
Sorry?
Can I ask another question?
Okay.
So how do we know when we are serving someone? Like in this situation, some devotees wanted to stop Srila Prabhupada from going for parikrama because they care for him, and other devotees thought that we just have to do whatever he wants us to do. So how do we decide when we are serving someone? Where should we stand? Just when do we just do whatever they want us to do, and when do we try to stop them from doing something when we think it's not good for them?
Well, ordinarily, we should do what they want us to do. That was a special situation. And even then, I wasn't completely sure. But after Prabhupada left, I went into his room, and I often chant japa there. And the latest volume of Srimad Bhagavatam had come, and there was the story of Mother Yashoda binding Lord Krishna with ropes. And the Bhagavatam says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has one attribute, is that he comes under the control of his devotees, or under the control of the love of his devotees. And I thought that's what happened with Srila Prabhupada. He came under the control of his devotees, or the love of his devotees. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the class. My question is that how do we, is there any way to measure that we are progressing in Krishna consciousness? Like, do we have to set targets and goals? Sometimes it's confusing for me. Sometimes I think that, oh, I should be a good kirtaniya, I should learn more shlokas, and this would decide maybe I'm progressing in Krishna consciousness. So, can you suggest something by which I can know that I'm really progressing? Because sometimes we get comfortable in the process, following 4 reps, doing 16 rounds becomes a norm, and we can take the process for granted.
Well, the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam says, Bhakti Parashanra Bhavo Viraktir Anyatricha. And the verse is that when one is eating, his hunger is satisfied, and he gets nourished, and he feels satisfied. So in the same way, by executing devotional service, Bhakti Parasana Bhavo Virakta Anyatricha, one gets spiritual nourishment, one feels satisfied, and as Srila Prabhupada said, when you have a good meal, you don't have to take a certificate from anyone that you're satisfied. You know that you're satisfied. So, yeah. So your performance of devotional service should result in you feeling satisfied, in your not having other desires. And spiritually. Always good chanting, attentive japa is very important. What time do you get up in the morning?
3 times.
3:30, that's pretty good. And then when do you chant your rounds?
After Mangala Aarti, usually.
That's good too. And I assume you are attentive while you chant.
I try to be, but mostly not.
Okay, well, work on it. Work on it. Give you spiritual strength and clarity. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. I was just wondering, in terms of writing books and the instruction that Srila Prabhupada gave you, I was interested to know, like, how you know what to write about and what, how do you know, like, what to include, what will be useful for, like, devotees to read your books, and also, yeah, like, really interested in that process, I suppose, of what comes to mind when you start writing.
Well, I have a general idea of what the book would contain. And there are always decisions to be made, what to include and what not to include. But I have a very good team of editors. The main editor is Kalachandji Das. But I have 4 editors. Then there's Vishaka Priya Dasi, then Adurika Dasi, and then Nikunjabilasi Dasi. And they give good feedback, especially Kalachandji Das. And not too much and not too little.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this lecture. Sorry, thank you very much for this lecture. Maharaj, could you please share some memories with Srila Maharaj?
some,
Memories with with Srila Maharaj.
With Srila.
yeah. Um, well, we were very close friends. in Turkey. And, yeah, once he visited me at my ashram in Carpenter, California for my Vyasa Puja. He spoke very nicely and he congratulated the disciples for having me as their spiritual master. And he said I'm known as Mr. Prabhupada Stories, and I should keep writing about Srila Prabhupada, keep the books coming. And yeah, I mean, at one stage, he said, "There's no one I love more than Giriraj Swami." And yeah, his disappearance day is coming up fairly soon. And I have a long piece that I wrote about him that I'll be posting for the occasion. But yeah, so during the whole Juhu saga, at one stage, the municipality broke the temple. And so a team led by Mr. Sethi came to rebuild the temple. And Sridhar Swami was sitting in one of our jeeps near the site of the temple where the reconstruction is going on. And someone asked him why he was sitting there. And he joked, "So if there's any trouble, I can make a quick escape." Yeah, he's very humorous. He got the title of the Jolly Swami. Nicknamed Jolly Swami. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. My question is, you've been in Krishna consciousness for over 50 years, which is an incredible amount of time. But what is it that's kept you going? What is it that's kept up your enthusiasm, particularly after Srila Prabhupada left? It must have been a really difficult time. So for those of us, like I've only been practicing for like 12 years, but even I can see that my enthusiasm is slowly, not so much there as much as it was in the beginning. So what is it for you personally?
Well, I have faith in Srila Prabhupada, and I wanted to serve him and please him. And as Srila Prabhupada, as Tamal Krishna Goswami emphasized in one talk we had in Calcutta, that the secret of success in spiritual life is to serve the spiritual master and please him. And I always feel his presence. As he wrote in his dedication to his Srimad Bhagavatam, dedicated to his spiritual master, Saraswati Thakur. He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. So that's the association of Vani. And he lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives. That's our motto.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. In this assembly, there are many devotees that are weekly doing book distribution, sharing the holy name on the streets, and sometimes it can become quite an austerity. Week in, week out, doing the same service. It's very intense, requires a lot of energy. What advice do you have for us to help us keep that mission and that mood alive?
Well, Srila Prabhupada wanted his books distributed, and he wrote me, person, go on increasing books and go on increasing my pleasure. So we should keep in mind that we're, by increasing book distribution, we're increasing Prabhupada's pleasure, and that should sustain us and energize us, and enthuse us. And in a way, it's good to meet non-devotees on the street, because we might take the association of devotees for granted, but then when we see what people are like out there, then we can see the difference between them and the devotees and appreciate the devotees more. I mean, there is austerity involved, but as Srila Prabhupada said, spiritual life is difficult, but material life is impossible.
Thank you.
Just a slightly personal question. How did your parents feel that you took ISKCON? And if so, did they meet you at the Prabhupada?
My parents were not happy when I joined ISKCON, but they did meet Srila Prabhupada. They came to Calcutta, and I didn't know how to deal with the situation, and I asked Srila Prabhupada, so we must spend time with them. So I took them to some tourist places and introduced them to some friends. And then they came to meet Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada dealt with them very expertly. And he, in a very subtle way, he worked on my father's prejudices. So he began by saying that he had a pharmaceutical shop, and he would have products made in India and the same product made in England. And the product made in England would be much more expensive, but it wasn't basically the same as the product made in India. So he said that one of his customers was Motilal Nehru, and he was a made in England man. He would always want the products made in England. And he also said that Motilal Nehru said that he had a son named Jawaharlal who was useless. So he was thinking of giving him to the freedom movement. So quoting these incidents, Srila Prabhupada was sort of, working on my father's presumptions, that made in England is better than made in India, or that, a big man in the necessarily a great person. So my father wanted me to come back to America. He said that he wanted to establish a trust in my name and put $1 million in it. And he wanted me to come and sign the documents. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you can send the documents and he will sign. So then Srila Prabhupada said, let him remain with me now, and when I come to America this summer, I'll bring him with me. So I said, just see how intelligent Srila Prabhupada is, because when it's warm, when it's too hot in India, but it's warm and pleasant in the West, he goes to the West. And when it's pleasant in India and it's cold in the West, he stays in India. And by then my father was getting very loved by Srila Prabhupada, and he said, yes, he is very intelligent. And Srila Prabhupada said, well, your son is very intelligent because he has understood my strategy. And my father said, no, you are very intelligent. And Srila Prabhupada said, well, I guess I must be, otherwise how could I attract so many intelligent young men like your son? But my mother was very concerned about my health. And in those days, people thought if you don't eat meat, you won't get enough protein. And Srila Prabhupada had, he always kept sweets on his table, and being Calcutta, he had sandesh. So he gave some, put some in my father's hand and my mother's hand. And he said, these are made of cheese, and they're very high in protein. And then he said to me, Giriraj, you must eat 2 dozen rasgulla and sandesh every day. So, and after the meeting, my father was, he was so impressed as he was leaving the room. He said, I'll say 2 things about your master. 1, he's a brilliant organizer. And 2, he really knows how to deal with people. And my father's value system, those were like the 2 highest compliments that he could pay to anyone. Then from Calcutta, I went to Madras. I was the first devotee from ISKCON to go to Madras. And I was staying at different people's homes and eating lots of sambar and idlis and dosa. And I put on weight. So I arranged a program for Srila Prabhupada. He came to Madras. And seeing that I had gained weight, he said, you should take a picture of yourself and send it to your mother. Yeah, forgotten her concern. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you again for joining us this evening and sharing so many memories of Srila Prabhupada. I was just thinking, since you've been visiting the UK for so many years, are there any areas that you think that the UK Yatra or the London Yatra could improve on to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions better?
Do you think there are?
I could probably come up with a few.
Yeah, well, why don't you begin?
Well, I was thinking today's Ekadashi and I shouldn't commit any Vaishnava aparad. But perhaps as an outsider, you might see something that I might have missed.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about the yatra in those terms. Yeah, I think they do well. During the marathon, they distribute a lot of books. And yeah, I'm very inspired by Vishwambar Das and his book distribution. Yeah, I think overall the yatra is doing well. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
So what's next?
We have your trailer video for your bookstore, right?
Oh,
For the
wonderful.
devotees to see.
Yeah.
Right, thanks.
It's the latest version.
Yes.
Maharaj, thank you so much for sharing such sweet pastimes about the time with Srila Prabhupada in the early days. I think for many of us that have joined the movement a little more recently, it's so very lovely to hear these pastimes about your surrender, your commitment, and the pioneering spirit of the early days. And within these pastimes, there are so many valuable jewels, and one such jewel you shared was that advice that the Lord Krishna Maharaj left you, that the secret to success in Krishna consciousness, the secret to success in spiritual life is to serve the spiritual master and to please him.
Mm-hmm.
So just there, Maharaj very kindly gave us a little prelude to much more nectar that's available in his transcendental books, books that describe his pastimes with Maharaj and so much more. So what I'd like the devotees to do, I think you guys know it already, but over there there's going to be a little video shared. The video is ready? All good? We're going to let it buffer a little bit. And in that time, we'll try and say something of value. So Maharaj has 5 books here, which we'll have the opportunity to purchase after this video during Prashad. And I believe Vrindav and John the Prabhu later will address us and let us know where these books can be purchased on the property and how they can be found and if Maharaj can sign them. So that's all to come very soon. Just while we're waiting, I think we're here. We're good to go. His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj ki
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Should we call the BBC? Just, just while that's getting together, I wonder if Vrindavan Prabhu would like to explain a little bit about where the books can be found and what the logistics will be behind that.
Yeah, sure.
Hare Krishna.
If you have the lights on, please. Thank you.
So Maharaj was explaining in the East talk that one of the most important instructions he received from Srila Prabhupada was to write. And Maharaj has thus far published 5 titles. And the first book is called Watering the Seed. And this book is about anecdotes from Pastimes with Srila Prabhupada, and also lectures from the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. It's a beautiful book, and Maharaj is not too long ago enhanced the book and added some additional material. And this book is available in hardbound copy, and also it's available in Kindle on Amazon.com. The second title is Many Moons. We know from the teachings of Srila Prabhupada that we should follow in the footsteps of the great devotees of the Lord. So in Srila Prabhupada's family, there were many great devotees that are no longer with us, that have departed. So Maharaj has written a book about various Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. And in the book, he tells us about their great lives and also about their departures, of how they left this world. The third book Maharaj published is Life's Final Exam. All of us at some point in our lives will have to sit that exam. And passing that exam is one of the most glorious achievements we can have. So Maharaj has published this book, Life's Final Exam, with perspectives from the Vedic teachings, and also some personal experiences with departed Vaishnavas and care in hospices and so on. And Maharaj spoke in his class about Srila Prabhupada, at the end of his struggles to acquire the Juhu property, saying it was a good fight, someone should write a book about it. And Maharaj has now published that book that came out not too long ago. It's a beautiful book, and highly encourage everyone to read it. There's just so many personal instructions in our own spiritual lives that we get from the person Bhagavat. There's the book Bhagavat and there's the person Bhagavat. And Srila Prabhupada gives us many wonderful instructions. And the final book that just come out, we received it in the UK 2 weeks ago. This is Dancing White Elephants. Srila Prabhupada referred to his American and European disciples when they toured India with him, and they captured the imagination and the attention of the Indian audience. He called them his dancing white elephants. So in this book, Maharaj writes about his travels with Srila Prabhupada from 1970 to 1972, traveling to many places: Madras, Indore, Calcutta, Surat. Maharaj traveled extensively with Srila Prabhupada, Kumbh Mela, with Srila Prabhupada through India, and Maharaj documents this in this wonderful book. Maharaj has kindly offered, whoever wants to take a book today, to sign it. So please feel free to come, and we also got our card reads today. So if you don't have cash, we're quite happy to take payment by card, or even if you don't have the cash, we can make some arrangement if you'd like to take the book. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I think the video is now ready to print.
You should write. This is your first business. Go on writing.
This instruction was given to His Holiness Giriraj Swami personally by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada in 1971 and repeated over the years. In more than 5 decades since, Giriraj Swami has served Srila Prabhupada faithfully and tirelessly, sharing his experiences and realizations with us in his books. Have you ever wondered how service to God relates to service to man? What was Srila Prabhupada's vision that led people around the world to chant Krishna's names?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare.
Watering the seed is an invaluable offering to all aspirants on the path of devotion, with many wonderful personal exchanges between Srila Prabhupada and his dear disciple. Giriraj Swami kindly shares his realizations with the honesty, wisdom, and humility for which he is known and loved. It transports us into Srila Prabhupada's intimate association during some of the most historic moments of ISKCON's development.
It's like in the sky there is one moon only, and there are millions of stars. But one more, dissipate the whole darkness of the night. Similarly, at least those who have taken to Krishna consciousness, each of you become a moon and enlighten the world.
Oh hey Vaishnava Guru, Yarasa Guru, Yadase Guru. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kari.
The great souls described in these pages are bright, full moons of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Their lives are living instructions. Their activities, chandrikas, cooling, illuminating moonbeams of Vaishnav sharing, teaching, and realization.
With their unconditional love and dedication to Srila Prabhupada, these personalities built this worldwide movement and gifted it to us to be nurtured by it and to serve.
An exclusive treatise on one's last days of life that gives readers the resource to face death squarely. And deal successfully with that often fearful and painful, but also saving moment. Down to earth and practical as well as scriptural, both fresh and mature. It draws us in with superb narrative and also answers tough questions about death and dying.
Drawing from both spiritual leaders and experts in the field of hospice and palliative medicine, life's final exam has universal application.
One of the most important books about Srila Prabhupada. It's about Srila Prabhupada and his Leela of years of heartbreak and struggle in Juhu, Mumbai. No one else can write this book like His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj.
Srila Prabhupada's struggle to establish Hare Krishna land and build a temple for Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bihari in Juhu, on the outskirts of Bombay, was perhaps the greatest effort of his preaching movement. By the strength of his desire, an overgrown plot of land in what had been a remote fishing village, infested with rats, snakes, and mosquitoes, became a place of pilgrimage and devotional service. And after a prolonged and arduous but victorious struggle, when the conveyance was finally signed, he declared, "It was a good fight. Someone should write a book about it."
I'll build you a temple transports us into one of the great events of our time. It is a story of surrender on the path of pure love, an incomparable story that many have tried to relate, but which no one will ever be able to tell like His Holiness Giriraj Swami.
From the beginning, Giriraj Swami served the Juhu project in various roles for 30 years and spent years researching, writing, and preparing the book for publication. It is part of ISKCON history, a complement to Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita.
This book is a page-turner to the highest degree. Once you begin, you just can't put it down.
Giriraj Swami has written his 5th book, Dancing White Elephants. Traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India, August 1970 to March 1972. Covering visits to Amritsar, Indore, Surat, Bombay, Calcutta, Allahabad, Gorakhpur, Delhi, Madras, and Mayapur. In some 400 pages of text and 17 images, dancing white elephants, with the foreword by Malati Dasi, who was present for most of the adventures, will captivate the minds and hearts of readers and increase their attachment to and love for Srila Prabhupada and his white elephants, his disciples who helped him in his mission. Through Maharaj's carefully chosen words, you will see the exquisite sights and feel like you are living the experiences that were part of establishing the Hare Krishna movement in India. You will meet incredible devotees who became pillars of this movement through their own storied spiritual growth and advancement, and be introduced to seemingly ordinary persons whose lives became transformed by contact with Prabhupada and his dancing white elephants, just as he envisioned.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta.
You have all the right